Johanna of Malta is one of the most famous women gladiators in history, whose name was almost forgotten but has resurfaced in recent historical discussions. Her story is shrouded in mystery, and even when her name is mentioned, it is not accompanied by many exact details. The exact time of her life has not been determined, but historians tend to believe that Johanna could have been active between the 1st and 3rd centuries AD, when gladiatorial combat reached its peak in the Roman Empire. Her figure stood out in a time when women in the arena were extremely rare. Roman gladiators were predominantly men, and women in these brutal games were seen as exceptions. However, Johanna managed to stand out among the rest, earning both respect and fear from the spectators, as well as respect from her fellow fighters. Her life was full of struggle, not only in the arena, but also in her everyday existence. Johanna was born and raised on Malta, which during that period was under Roman control. Despite the fact that most gladiators were slaves or criminals who found themselves in gladiator schools, or ludi, Johanna may have ended up there by choice or due to the political intrigue of that time. Gladiators typically lived under harsh conditions. They slept in cages, were fed a limited diet, and trained relentlessly in harsh environments to survive in the arena. The gladiator schools in Rome were true combat camps where they were trained for life or death battles. The psychological pressure was no less severe than the physical one. Death was their constant companion. They became instruments of entertainment for the public, but for themselves the arena was a place where they could not afford to relax. Every fight could be their last, and survival depended not only on strength and skill, but also on luck. Johanna would have trained with other gladiators, undergoing intense weapons training, swords, tridents, shields, and other tools characteristic of the time. She grew more skilled and developed expertise in different types of combat. At that time, there were many different forms of gladiatorial combat: armed or unarmed fights, fights involving animals, and those with multiple fighters. But the most famous was, of course, the one-on-one fight, life or death, where every brutal strike could be decisive. Unlike most gladiators who were condemned to endless battles, Johanna became famous for her victories, becoming one of the few women who managed to earn respect in the arena. She was known not only as a woman, but also as an outstanding fighter. She fought with bravery, strategy, and ferocity, becoming a favorite of the spectators and a symbol of female strength in a brutal world where life and death were decided by the battles. When we think of Roman gladiators, we often think of men, their cruelty and bravery. But Johanna of Malta is living proof that women too could become heroes in the arena, inspire the people with their feats, and fight for their freedom. Johanna is a symbol of strength, determination, and the struggle for survival in a world where warriors had to fight until their last breath. Gladiators, even the most successful ones, were not free. Even after many victories in the arena, they remained subject to their masters. They could never forget their position as slaves, and every fight was a battle for survival. However, Johanna proved that even under these circumstances, one could achieve greatness. She became not only a symbol of the woman gladiator, but also an example for other fighters that strength of spirit and determination could lead to victory even in the harshest conditions. Unfortunately, due to the lack of documentary sources and historical evidence about her life, it is impossible to establish the exact date of her death or even to describe her last moments. However, her name remains in history as an example of a woman who, despite all the hardships of her time, managed to leave her mark on Roman history and become an inspiration for many future generations.